Banker's algorithm, these are all the properties we are supposed to consider here. So we go for multiple instances, right? Say for example, if you have n number of processes, say P1, P2, P3, so on, Pn, if you consider R number of resources, say, I mean M, R1, R2, R3, so on, Rm, then we can go for K number of instances, multiple instances. Each resource can have more than one instance. So we can go for multiple instances. I will consider K number of instances in general. So next step here, each process must a priori claim maximum use. That's what. We don't know how many resources are available and each resource have how many instances. Based on that, the process can decide before the start of execution. So prior to that, it can check how many resource of how many instance it can claim for it. Next one, when a process requests a resource, it may have to wait. Say for example, P1 is requesting for the resource which is held by some other process, then obviously it has to wait. Fine. So when a process gets all its resources, it must return them in a finite amount of time. So once the resources are allocated, it has to complete this job within the given finite amount of time. Then it has to release the resources to the next process to be continued. So these are the concepts of Banker's algorithm. So let us move on to the next step, next slide. So here we have some definitions. Based on this, we are going to consider the data structures for the Banker's algorithm here. So let us consider n number of processes. So P1, P2, P3, so on, Pn. Same way m number of resources, resource types you can consider. So R1, R2, R3, so on, Rm. So let us see what are these definitions we come across. So coming to the first one here, available. So let vector of length m. So I'll take a resource types of vector of length m. So I'll go for Rj, means here j can be 1, 2, 3, so on m. If available of j is k, if each resource R1 is available for k number of instances, R2 is available for k can be 1, 2, 3 again. So based on that, there are k instances of resource type Rj available. That means what? You have resource Rj as R1, R2, R3, so on m, and each Rj can have k number of instances. Next we have maximum, definition for maximum. If you go for n number of process and m number of resource, so for n cross m matrix, if maximum of I, j is k, then process Pi may request at most k instances of resource type Rj. That means what? Pi again, I can be 1, 2, 3, so on n. Again Rj can be 1, 2, 3, so on Rm. Fine. So if maximum of I, j is k, if Rj is available for k number of instances, therefore Pi can request for maximum of how many instances? K number of instances. Next we have allocation. So again allocation for n cross m matrix. That means what? For process P1 so on to Pn, and for resource R1, R2, R3, so on to Rm. So if allocation of I, j is k, then Pi is currently allocated with k instances of Rj. Same thing. Pi is again I can be 1, 2, 3, so on n. Rj is again 1, 2, 3, so on m. So now whatever already allocated currently how many resources are allocated with each of these processes? Resource can be R1, R2, R3, process can be P1, P2, P3. So how many instances are allocated for each and every process with the given resource types? So that is called allocation. Allocation means currently allocated. Maximum means maximum the resources available. So I mean existing number of resources, so that Pi can request for the number of resources available. And maximum means what? The existence. Available means what? I have some 10 instances of some resource say R1. In that, if I have already given 5 instances, so remaining is how much? 5. So that is available at this particular instant of time. After allocating some resource, what is left out? That is available. Maximum means what? Maximum number of instances that exist for each and every resource. And allocation means what? Currently, what are the number of instances for each and every resource allocated to the process? Coming to the last definition here, need. Need is again defined with respect to n cross m matrix. If need of I, j is k, then Pi may need k more instances of Rj to complete its task. Assume that you have process P1, P2, P3, so on Pn. Rj means what? Resource R1, R2, R3, so on Rm. I have some k number of instances with each and every resource here. K again, it depends on the resource. Maybe R1 has 2 instances, R2 has 3 instances, we don't know. So based on that, so if at all, to complete the given job, say in place of Pi, I'll take some process, say P2 now. P2 you want to complete. P2 is assigned with some resource, say R1 and R2 with some 1 or 2 instance. I want some more instance of R1 to complete P1. So what is that extra instance I need to, I require to complete process P1 with the help of resource. So that is called need. What is the extra? What is some more instances that the process needs to complete its given task? That is called need. So you can calculate this need using this equation here. So need of I comma j is given by maximum of I comma j minus allocation of I comma j. Maximum means how many number of instances that the resource exists with. So I have R1 with some 10 instance, R2 with some 5 instance, R3 with some 3 instance. So out of that, how many you have already assigned, what is remaining that is available. Allocation means what? Currently how many resource out of this maximum is allocated. So some you have allocated, some is remaining. So total is what? Maximum. So if you do this, if you want, say for example, I want some more instance. How is it I will check whether it is available or not? I will check with taking the difference of maximum and minus allocation. Currently, what is it I have allocated? What is it remaining? That remaining I can request. If I have 10 instance, if I have allocated 5, 10 minus 5 is how much? 5. 5 more instance I can now. So let us say the first step here, let work and finish be vectors of length m and n respectively. That means what? I will use some variables here. I'll use work as some variable and I'll use finish as some variable to check with each and every process and each and every resource. N is with respect to process and M is with respect to resource here. So let us assign whatever I have, whatever the resource available, the remaining. You have some maximum instance out of that you are already allocated. What is remaining, I'll call it as available. That I will take it to the variable called work here. Just temporarily I'm going to store this value in the work. So let us see. Now I have started checking whether I have some process, say I equal to 1, 2, 3, so on n. So I want to execute P1, P2, P3, P4, so on. But I don't know the order in which I'm going to execute, because I should check the system should be always in safe state, right? If it is in unsafe state, then there is a problem of deadlock. I don't want to reach the state called deadlock. I will try to prevent, I will try to avoid the problem of deadlock. To avoid that, what is the solution I have? Better to check, make sure that your system is in the safety state, fine? So for in order to consider that system is in safe state, I need to check for these conditions now. So initially I'll take finish of I as false. That means I will not go for execution at the beginning itself, because I want to check whether the system is in the safe state or not. If system is in the safe state, then what I will do, whatever the order I will decide, whether I want to take 1 first, then 2, 3, or 2 first, 1 next, then 3. So on, based on that, based on whichever the process has what is that required number of resource, if it is already available, then based on that I will start the execution. That sequence depends upon these conditions now. So to check that, first I'll check, then I will change this finish of I as true. Once I take finish of I as true, that means what I have, by the time I've decided the order, then I'll go on executing the order in which I have planned. So let us see how is it I'll do. Let us check for I, which is the sequence I can go for. I'm going to check here. So if initially finish of I is false, because I have not started with execution. Still I am in the what state of checking for the order in which I can go with the system safe state. Fine. So let us see the next step. What is it I have taken? Need I is less than or equal to work. I'll check this. So what is work? Work is available. If whatever the resource available, I am the process which I have considered, I can be again 1, 2, 3. I'll check one by one. I'll check with P1 first, then P2, P3. If I check, when I check for Pi, based on the result of this equation, I'll decide whether I'll start with P1 or I will ignore P1 and continue with P2 based on that. So I will see what is the number of resource or number of instance of resource I need to check for P1. So what is available and what is that I need. So if the result of this equation, need is less than or equal to work, if yes, then I'll come down to step 3. If no, then I'll go to step 4. I'll go to step 4. That means what? Everything is fine. Finish of I is true. Then for all I, whatever the order at that time you have decided, with the system is in safe state, then I will continue the execution. Maybe P1, 2, 3 is fine. Otherwise, what is it I'll do? I need to change the order. So maybe P1 is not satisfying. I have to check with P2 then. So what is the steps I will go for? I will check work is equal to work plus allocation and do. That means what? Whatever the resource I need is less. That is not enough for me. So I will go for, I'll try to change the result of the this condition. At least need should be equal to work. Whatever I need, same resource I have to be allotted, right? So what is it I'll do in the step 3? I'll do work is equal to work plus allocation. I'll go on adding. I'll go on allocating some resource. I'll check each time once I add, I'll check for the condition whether I can go for finish of I as true, then go back. If finish of I is true means what? My condition is satisfied, then I'll continue with that process which I have done with this step. Otherwise, I'll go for step 4 and do the